when you learn how to like channel it outside, makes more money. It just does.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Gumroad podcast. I'm your host, Justin Michaelet, a senior writer at Gumroad, where I deconstruct the tactics, strategies, and processes of top creators. Each week on the podcast, I interview creators and digital entrepreneurs who are at the top of their field. On this week's episode, I interviewed Jose Rosado, and this is part one of our two-part conversation. Jose teaches sales, persuasion, and earning a living online. He's also the creator of several successful Gumroad products. And in this part one of our conversation, we talked about his journey as a freelancer, building digital products, affiliate marketing, and more. I just loved this inspiring conversation. Enjoy. Our guest today is Jose Rosado. Jose, thank you for being here on the Gumroad podcast.
Man, thank you so much for deciding on me. I really appreciate it. I've been a fan of Gumroad for around 3 years, man. And being here interviewed by you guys is a good thing. It's a testament that when you put in the work, good things happen to you. So thank you for that.
Yeah, so I'm glad you brought up 3 years ago, because that's exactly where I wanted to start this conversation, which is like right at the start of your story in terms of creating and going live with a product. It's a very cool sales page. You're just very upfront and honest about sort of where you're coming from and how you created things. So maybe we could just start there and hear, the story from your point of view.
Sure. So in 2016, I got fired like a dog. Man, it was a hard time for me. I was not expecting it. So it was like a Thursday and I got an email, and the email said, the subject line of the email said, "The company must survive." And I'm like, nah, that's just one of these weird emails from human resources. And I used to work in human resources before, so I know it's just one of those emails. But I ignored it. I kept working and just kept doing my thing. And then one of my coworkers approached me and told me, "Hey, Jose, did you read the email?" And I'm like, "Well, I saw the email." And he said, like, "What do you think?" I didn't want to lie, so I just said, "I don't know." I didn't know what the email was about. So that got me a little bit worried. So I go back to Outlook, click the email. "The company must survive." I should have read that. I started reading the emails, and the email said that the biggest client of the company fired us. Okay. So it was like 80% of the revenue came from that company. So you can imagine what's going to happen next. Of course, I got fired. Okay.
Can you describe the type of work it was and what kind of agency it was?
Oh, yes. I was a month before getting fired. I was promoted to director of marketing. So I didn't even get my first paycheck as a director, man. It's so I laugh because I was able to overcome that challenge, but it was not funny back then. So, dude, I got fired the next day I got that email, and I didn't tell my wife about the email. So it was even harder on her. And we had a 6 month year old kid, our first kid. So it was tough, but thankfully 2 months later, I was making much more money as a freelancer because I just put in the work,
How did you make that transition?
Well, man, when you're a father and you know that if you don't make money, your kid is going to starve to death, you do the impossible to avoid that. And the thing is that I told you that a month prior to my firing, I was given the opportunity to be the director of marketing, which came with a big and substantial increase in salary, which led to my wife quitting her job.
Oh, no.
So, she was jobless. I was jobless. We didn't have a lot of money saved, basically 10 pesos, which is not even $1. I don't know, man. It was horrible. But I decided that I won't let my family starve to death. And I started throwing what I call flying kicks. I don't know if you've seen flying kicks in real life, but they're just show. If you land one, of course you can like win the battle, but you rarely land a flying kick. Okay. So what I did is I started throwing flying kicks to see if I landed one. and I landed many. I got lucky, but luck, of course, getting lucky was because I did the job. I started calling all of my previous freelancing clients, which just came to my life. I didn't even look for them until that time. And, and they all said yes. Well, not all, but most of them said yes, let's start working. And I got into business with them, helping them with their websites, updating their stuff. I'm a web designer, by the way, or used to be a web designer. And in 2 months, I was already making more money than I did as an employee. But I got comfortable after a while, because when you're making as much money or more than what you did at your 9-to-5 job and by working less, sometimes you get comfortable. So because of that comfort, I stopped looking for clients. Okay. So my income stagnated because of that dumb decision of getting comfortable. I spent 2 years basically with the same clients and any referral that I got, but not actively looking for clients. And then 2018 came and I got a new job as a 9-to-5 job because I needed more money. So I was making now twice as much as I did before, because I was making money as a freelancer and of course with my 9-to-5 job. But that came with a lot of stress and a lot of sleepless night. But thankfully, I got into Twitter in 2018 and I started tweeting just random ideas, no mission. I just wanted to see what happened if I could make money with Twitter. That's when I saw Gumroad, or actually started like paying attention to it, because I've seen other people using Gumroad back then, but Gumroad was not as popular, at least on Twitter, as it is right now in 2018. So I'm like, oh man, I don't want to use this platform. I would rather use something more well-known, which was a dumb excuse to avoid taking action. Nevertheless, Gumroad has a very particular thing that I love, which is, or at least used to have, which is that it let you get paid without a Stripe account, and you only require like a PayPal account, so Gumroad pays you your money. Thankfully, by then, in 2018, I live in Dominican Republic, by the way. I'm Dominican. The bank where I keep my money decided to make an agreement with PayPal. So I can take my money from PayPal to my bank account directly without any, I don't know the word, intermediary? I don't know how to say it. With no middleman, okay? With no middleman between me, United States, and PayPal. It was bank, PayPal bank. Easy peasy. And I saw that Gumroad let me get paid because you guys in your backend use Stripe and also PayPal.
Right.
But you don't let me, I as a user don't need a Stripe account. I only need the PayPal, so I can get paid. So I saw that as my big opportunity to start selling information products. And I did. I launched an ebook on December 2018 about fast skill acquisition, the most boring topic in the world, learning. And I made like $4,000 launching that book. And I was in a vacation, by the way, in Panama City with my family. So I was making money passively during a vacation, which is like the dream everyone has. And it was funny because I was not expecting to make as much money selling a book about learning. $4,000, $5,000, which
I have two questions for you.
Yeah, sure.
The first is, I just want to get super tactical with you about how you built this product, how long it took you, what the process was development wise. And maybe I'll let you answer that. And then I have a follow-up question.
Yeah. I love that. And you might be surprised by my answer. I wrote all of my content in Spanish because you're not listening to me, but 3 years ago, my English was not like this. And you see me right now, sometimes struggling to come up with the word, like, for example, middleman instead of intermediary. I still struggle with that, but I don't give a crap. I just do it though. I realize that when you stick your neck out, people appreciate at least that you're courageous enough to stick your neck out. Sometimes someone comes with an axe and tries to cut your neck, but it's the internet. It will happen regardless of who you are. So I wrote all my content in Spanish, and I used Google Translate to get the English right. So it was twice the work. It was so dumb of me because I could have written everything in English and forced myself and get outside of my comfort zone, but I didn't. So I paid with time. I wrote stuff in Spanish. Then I got the English right with Google Translate. And then I posted that on Twitter. And I realized that I just wanted to create a book, the fast scale acquisition book, which was something that I really like learning. And I didn't want to create like a course on web design, which it was in my head, it was too hard at the moment to record a video course, because I lacked the ability to speak my mind freely. So I had to type everything down and read it to the camera, which is horrible. So I used that as practice to launch something, just to see how it feels in the process. So after that, of course, I developed my process of writing. But at the end of the day, if you're trying to write a book or a script for a video course or whatever, let me tell you something. Just write. Doesn't matter if it's a bad first draft. It doesn't matter. In fact, if you feel that the first draft of anything you're writing is good, you're doing it wrongly. That's the wrong approach, because you're certainly spending too much time editing and moving things around. And that's why that first draft came out good enough. No, it should be like the shittiest draft ever. The worst thing you can ever like write in your whole existence. If it's not like that, it's wrong. Okay. Now, why is that? Here's the thing. Creativity is a mess. Creativity. Have you ever written something that in your head sounds like the ultimate idea, and then you put it in writing and you say like, what? This is so dumb. So that happens to a lot of people, including myself. And that's because that first draft is just the first iteration of your idea in a written form. And writing something requires a lot of editing if you want to make it good. Okay? So just write that first draft and a couple of days later, edit it. And you'll notice that your writing will get exponentially better. And that's the process. Now, if you want a more step-by-step process, I can certainly tell you. And I'll tell you about it right now. Let's say you're a web designer. You want to create a video course on creating a website with WordPress. How would you do that? It's very simple. So first, you research what people are talking about in the forums, in Facebook groups, on Twitter, on what they feel they lack in regards to learning web design. You write all of these stuff down, okay? All of these ideas. I call these ideas anecdotes. And from the anecdotes, you'll find the problems people are going through, the challenges that they have, the needs that they have, and the keywords that they usually use when they're talking about these ideas. This is what I call the Plan Zero market research. P starts for problem, L stands for language, A stands for anecdotes, N stands for needs, and zero is actually an O, stands for obstacle. And the trick is to find all of these anecdotes so you can find the problem, the language, which are the keywords that they use, the anecdotes, of course, the needs, and the obstacle people are going through. Once you find all of this information, then you'll have an unlimited resource for writing and creating content. Because from all of these comments or anecdotes, you can extract so many questions. Let's say that someone tells you, I'm struggling to install WordPress on my SiteGround account. SiteGround is a hosting service, by the way. Well, how can you take someone from struggling to install WordPress to actually having WordPress installed in their hosting account? That's a blog post, or that could be the first chapter of your book, or that could be the first video of your book. And this is where the 5-minute installation, like classic tutorial of WordPress was born. Someone was struggling on how to install WordPress, and then someone decided to provide an answer to that particular need or that particular problem. Now, what's the next step? Once you have this research already conducted, well, you start writing and answering to these questions. And it doesn't matter if the quality of your answers are perfect. It doesn't matter, because you're just doing a brain dump on the paper, on the digital paper. I suggest you use Google Docs. Don't buy anything. Don't spend money. Google Docs is more than enough. I've written all of my books, all of my scripts on Google Docs. You don't need anything more than that. which is a very insightful thing that a lot of people ignore. They want to find the perfect app to write something, or the perfect app for editing. I'm the guy that wrote in Spanish and Google translated everything into English. And it worked. Okay. So you don't need expensive software to write. That's just a cop-out to avoid doing the work. So start answering these questions. Very simple, very straightforward. Doesn't have to be perfect. You create perfection in the second, third, fifth, 10th iteration. Cool. Then here's my big advice. Once you have this first draft of your script or your book or your guide or whatever you're giving away, if you have an online audience, take a couple of these people and give them the guide for free, or charge them $200, $300, $500 for a quick coaching, for let's say a 8-week, 12-week coaching where you guide them through all of the ideas that you wrote about. Okay. Here's my reframe to this. Instead of writing a book or creating a course that you don't know people might like, or that might not be up to your standards, and you're afraid of not getting buyers for that course, follow this advice. Get people to pay you $500 for a coaching. And the great thing is that you're getting paid to create the course, basically. Okay. You're getting paid by these people they're paying to be your guinea pigs. Okay. So it's a great hack. Okay. Now, if you don't want to do that, you can just start talking about it and start talking and building in public, which is a very popular term today and age. Talking about your process of creating the course, talk about and tweet about and post about what you're experiencing through building that course or that ebook, and get people excited and create a wait list. Gumroad lets you create more or less wait list because you can send emails through Gumroad. So you can create a quick wait list on Gumroad and start sending emails to people talking about the book and about the process and about how you're feeling about the launch or whatever. And then just launch it. The process is straightforward. People want to sell you a course or 12-week, 16-week, $10,000 coaching for something that is quite straightforward. Launching a book or launching a product doesn't require a step-by-step, let's say, process. It just doesn't. It requires a lot of work and it requires for you to talk about it while you are building it. If you don't talk about it, if you don't let people know about what you're building, don't expect people to buy things from you if you launch it out of the blue. It might work, but it certainly won't. Like, for example, there's this person on Instagram, Ari, I believe is her name. She had like 3 million followers on Instagram. And one day she launched a shirt brand, whatever, something. She was selling merchandise. She launched her Shopify store. And from the 3 million followers who followed her, only, I believe, 16 people or 26 or 36 people buy it. It was something with a 6 at the end. Think about this. You have 3 million followers and only 30 people buy from you. That's a big failure. And why was that? Well, the build it and they'll come mantra is fake. It's a failure. It's a lie. It doesn't work. Build it in public and they will come is much more effective. Let people into your story, into your life. Okay.
So were you interacting with, dozens or hundreds of people, or were you simply tweeting? And
I was simply tweeting,
this was before building public became super popular.
Yeah.
How was that natural for you?
It is not natural. I'm like an introvert. Right now, I'm just playing the extroverted version of myself, which is a big hassle. After this interview, I'll go to my bed and sleep because it drains me. It drains me. But this is not my normal demeanor. I'm more, this is my normal self. Just normal, slow, like talk slower, a lower pitch, but it's not interesting. So I force myself to be a little bit more energetic, which drains me. But I learned that the hard way, because at the end of the day, people appreciate when you talk faster. People appreciate when you're more energetic. And when you transmit this energy through videos and through text, people tend to gravitate towards you. Okay. If you are more on the side of extroversion and you have not learned how to, let's say, channel your extroversion out, which is what I did. I'm not saying that you won't find success, but I'm telling you that extroversion, when you learn how to like channel it outside, makes more money. It just does. It just does. It's something that everyone internally knows and feels. That's why we are attracted to these big personalities, no matter where they come from. When they have a big, huge smile on their face and they're always making jokes and they, sometimes don't take themselves too seriously. We love that. We humans love that from other people because it takes courage to do that. So this is not natural for me building in public or whatever. In fact, I failed a lot of times before I found success on Twitter. I tried on Facebook in Spanish, which is so much simpler for me. I sometimes wish I had all the followers that I have in Spanish because it's so much simpler to speak and write in Spanish. But writing English pays more. So I just decided to not be a quitter. Okay. And because before that, I quit a lot. I tried things for a month and then I said, this is too hard, quit. Which is basically what a lot of people do. Yeah. They don't find success in 1 month and they quit. I didn't quit. And when I decided to quit, I just said to myself, okay, screw it. One last try. And after that one last try, that was the first time I made money. 15 days after I decided okay, this is my last try, I made money, but I didn't quit. So building in public requires a little bit of courage and people appreciate that and they pay you with their attention. And once you got their attention, then you can persuade them and influence them and, guide them into your Gumroad account. So they buy things from you.
So give me a sense of the arc of the story from 2018 to 2021. You launched the first product, got a taste of leverage, a taste of success with a digital product. And did you continuously update that product or decide to build? How did you decide to build the follow-on product?
It was serendipity, to be honest. I had a membership site back in 2019, Sovereign University. I closed it in 2020 and I reopened it a month before recording this video with you, which is one of my biggest mistakes, closing that membership site, that community paid membership. But one of my biggest regrets in my life. And I used Gumroad for that, by the way, for that membership. It was even before you guys had the membership functionality you have right now. I used that membership to create my the first membership site of, let's say, this little corner of Twitter that uses Gumroad a lot to make money. Okay. So, and I closed it because I was scared, to be honest. So within that membership site, membership community, I had around 100 paying subscribers, paying me $50 a month. And one of my promises to all of these people that subscribed was that I was going to launch a course specifically for them. It could be something technical. It could be something about mindset. It could be something about whatever. And I decided that month of, I believe was December, what was it? February or something like that of 2019, I was going to give these people the ability to create websites with WordPress. And that's where my straight line web design course was born. That course has made me around $100,000 just without even promoting it that much, which is, in my opinion, a successful thing. Okay. Specifically for someone who struggled a lot with the English back then, not so much today. I gave this to them for free because they were still paying me the money for the monthly membership. Notwithstanding, after I closed the membership, I decided to launch, a couple of months before closing the membership, I decided to launch this course to my Twitter audience. Okay. So it was not meant to be sold outside of the membership. But since I already had the course, I gave it. I didn't give it. I launched it and people bought it. And a lot of people made money through affiliates because Gumroad has a really easy way to affiliate for. So if you're a Gumroad creator and you're not sending your affiliate links to people you trust, of course, not anyone, you're missing out. You're missing out because a lot of my affiliates made a lot of money selling the course.
That was part 1 of our 2-part conversation with Jose Rosado. Don't forget to tune in next week for part 2, where we go into even greater detail on Jose's life as an independent creator.